podcast, The Art of Nonsense. He is a creator who has built his own lane on YouTube, on Instagram, and other social media platforms. He is someone who's always on top of everything happening in the wide world of gaming, movies, and pro wrestling. So today we are diving into wrestling, content creation, and everything in between. This guy brings energy, he brings opinions, and he brings a whole lot of personality. I'm talking about Landmine. How we doing?
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Nah, appreciate you taking the time, mate. Especially Easter over there, right? Easter Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
And what are you? It's Monday for you, right?
Yeah, bro. Yep. Got the day off
You in
work.
the
It's
future.
always good. It's always good. Welcome to the channel, man. So tell me, you guys have recently started your podcast, hey, The Art of Nonsense. What's that about? How'd that come about?
So, the art of nonsense with Chris Anthony and myself, it was something that we really didn't think about doing until previously there was another podcast that was called the Keep Gaming Podcast,
Yep.
and he was on it with me. And we had other people join in, and we had other co-hosts with us as well. We stopped the podcast, and then like we were just having discussions, and he asked, "Do you want to do another podcast?" And I'm like, "Maybe, I'm not sure." I didn't really think too much into it, and he said, "How about we just have conversations? It doesn't have to be anything in particular. It could just be, the conversations that we have on a day-to-day basis." And
Yeah.
I said, "Sure, I guess." I wasn't really planning on starting another podcast because, as you know, podcast is a lot of work. So
Yeah.
there's, promoting, marketing, editing, recording. Then you guys have to be on the same page as far as time, and there's a lot of work. But because him and I have a great relationship, and you can see it in the podcast, we're 47 episodes in or 48
Yeah,
episodes
that's
in.
awesome, man.
Yeah, we put out episode every other Monday, so two episodes, 2 episodes a month, and that's what it came out. It's just us talking about nonsense, and that's why we
Yeah.
called it the art of nonsense. It could be anything from gaming to news to TV, sports, relationships. We talk about everything, so that's how it started.
Yeah, that's cool. In Australia, we call that shooting the shit. We just sit
Yeah,
around
yeah,
and
they
we
do it here
just
too.
we just
Yeah,
talk. Yeah, just literally just sit around and just talk nonsense, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
you guys are on YouTube. You guys
Yes,
hit Spotify yet or anything, or
yes,
just
we're
you?
on YouTube and Spotify right now.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll make sure I'll add the links to the channel at the end of this for the video.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
But let's talk about your channel, man. You've been doing this for quite a while now, but one of the big
Yeah,
things you do at the moment is your pro wrestling. I notice you do a
yeah.
lot of the clips like, Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views. What are your thoughts on the current state, man? I'm a big time wrestling fan,
Mm.
have been all my life. But when it's changed completely to the 2000s ruthless aggression era. Um, so what are your thoughts on the current state of pro wrestling at the moment? Is it on the up? Is it on the down?
Oh man. Well, I'll start off by saying I've been a wrestling fan since I was a kid.
Yeah,
I've been through different eras. I've seen the golden era. I lived through the entire Attitude era. I kind
yeah.
of stepped away when the ruthless aggression era kind of started in like 2002. I was in high school, so I kind of like stopped. I think there's a point where a lot of wrestling fans kind of just stop for whatever reason. And I missed the PG era, and then there was a time where there was some shift, where I started to get back into it in 2011, 2012. And then I started to watch a little bit of TNA, and I started to get into a little bit of indie wrestling of like Ring of Honor and stuff like that.
New Japan.
And a little bit of New Japan,
Yeah.
only because I really couldn't get into the storylines. And that's why, full circle, I bring that up today. I think the current state of pro wrestling is really, really good. Despite what people may say on the internet, I'm enjoying WWE, and I know this road. I know you can ask this question later, but this road leading into WrestleMania, it feels weird. But despite that, and the control battles between creative and TKO, executives, I feel like there are some great storylines. One of the best ones, for me was the Bloodline, and the Bloodline was a little bit
Yeah.
of like Vince McMahon versus leading into the TKO era, and that's probably one of the greatest storylines I think in pro wrestling ever. But I
Oh, I
enjoy,
agree.
yeah, I enjoy watching um like great stories,
Yeah.
and I know AEW is there as well. I'm a big fan of pro wrestling, so I do watch AEW, but I don't watch AEW for the stories. It's because the stories I don't connect with them really as much as I do with WWE. So right now I think it's really good, and I think there's room for improvement, and I guess we'll get into that later, but I'm enjoying it right now.
It's one of those things. I'm also a massive wrestling fan, right? So I've gone and seen New Japan shows and things like that. And one of the
Mm.
things I think AEW does wrong is I don't think they appreciate storylines. They don't appreciate the art of storytelling more than they
Maybe.
do putting on a show, you know?
Yeah.
I hear a lot of hot takes. Like I follow, things like Busted Open podcast and things like that.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not. I feel like I'm not alone when I say that. There's big talk at the moment with Chris Jericho returning to
Yeah.
AEW, and one of the hot takes
Hmm.
is AEW fans just don't appreciate him,
And I agree.
for his storytelling.
Yeah.
Um, on the road to WrestleMania, man, is there any moment, like any matches that are really standing out to you?
So yes. Well, okay, I'll put it like this. Yes, until like 2 weeks ago. The
Yeah,
whole Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, this was something that I feel like a lot of fans wanted, and I think needed, because there's a lot of history there. You're talking about 20 years of history between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And something beautiful could have been. And I feel like WWE dropped the ball and telling that story. I feel like there should have been more interactions, and there's really only 2 weeks left until WrestleMania. Maybe they can fix it on its way to WrestleMania. But when you inserted Pat McAfee on Friday Night SmackDown, you lost me.
yeah, I
I don't
agree.
even care. Yeah, I could care less for this story now. It
Yeah,
feels like it's lost its way, and something beautiful was there, and they let it go, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of ticket sales, so they try to insert, this is what the rumors are on the internet, they try to insert more celebrities to spice things up. But having Pat McAfee come in trying to be the heel with the sunglasses, trying to look like the final boss, it just it threw me off, and I can't get into it.
yeah. It was one of those things, man. I was so sure it was either one of the McMahons or
I
and
was
my and
hoping
I
it was Shane. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember saying on one of your videos before Orton and Rhodes become a thing that this is what I think was going to happen,
Mm.
because I didn't think Drew McIntyre could lead that title to get even close to CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Um, so you have to bring in that long time rivalry there. And I
Yeah.
feel like it started off similar to the old school Triple H Shawn Michaels rivalry,
Hmm.
like best of friends, and then turn rivals. It's pro wrestling 101.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought an authority storyline was coming back into it, especially with the introduction of Stephanie McMahon. I thought, oh, yeah, here we go. They're going to cost Rhodes the title,
Yeah.
put the title on Orton, and then you have the authority. But now, yeah, they've completely lost it. And one of the things I have read was the guy that runs TKO is actually Pat McAfee's manager.
Yeah.
Um, so it would make sense why it's like, oh, I feel like they're going for more celebrity factor than they are,
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah,
Um,
if you look in the last 2 weeks alone, you have Jelly Roll, I Show
yeah,
Speed, McAfee, and Friday Night SmackDown with Trick Williams, you had Little Yachty.
yeah.
And I'm sure there's gonna be more come come WrestleMania. So
And
this is
they
just the
did that
beginning.
last year with Travis Scott as well. Like,
Yeah,
chucked
that
him in a
didn't work out. Yeah.
storyline that, yeah,
Yeah.
chucked him in a storyline that meant absolutely should have been one of the
Yeah.
biggest storylines ever, and it
Mhm.
ruined by celebrity appearances, man.
Yeah.
One of the things I think I'm more looking forward to, and my only hope is he actually puts on a show, and that's got to be Ober and Brock. The hype
Yeah.
for that match at the moment is just
Mhm.
like it's like old school, you know, the icon versus the immovable object, man. Like
Yeah, no,
just
it's great.
it's yeah, it's I feel like if thankfully Paul Heyman's at the helm of it,
Hmm.
and he's really shown that there's only one on one really when it comes to storylines. But I think it all comes down to how much effort Brock puts into the match. Will depend, and I said to my son's become a wrestling fan. He's only 10 years old.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I sit there and I watch Brock Lesnar matches now, and I'm like, son, you just don't understand. Like, Brock Lesnar used to just be a monster in that ring. He
Yeah.
could throw you around. He was doing shooting star presses,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And now he just
Yeah.
goes
No,
for
he's a legit wrestler, like
yeah,
NCAA champion. The guy can, for his size, he can move.
and
At
that's
least back then. I think it's a little tougher now. He's a little bit older, but yeah.
yeah. But I feel like if he was to break out a little bit of his repertoire that he knows against Oba, I think that would put Oba over so much more than
Mm.
just your casual clothesline German suplex F5 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 finisher. That's the end of the match. you know,
Yeah. No.
it'd be cool to see him take it a little bit old school. But given you're a long term wrestling fan, man, what's one wrestling opinion that you have that gets people heated?
um, I think for me, it has to be that people think wins and losses mean everything. And I think with a good story, none of that stuff matters. Um, for example, you have Roman Reigns last year after losing back to back matches to Bronson Reed. It did nothing to Roman. So
Yeah,
him losing doesn't affect him. But as long as the story is good enough, that's all that matters, honestly. Um, I think people and AEW did this, and I don't even know why. Maybe they want it to be different, but they under their names they usually show, and I haven't seen much. They may have removed it or recently or not, but they used to show like their records, like how many
yeah,
wins,
yeah,
losses, and draws. I'm not sure if they still show that. I know what's funny is like I still see matches, and actually I went to what was the one that was in Newark, Full Gear, I think it was. I went to that
yeah,
and I still watch it because I enjoy wrestling. I enjoy the actual like athleticism of these wrestlers. But wins and losses don't really matter. And I think a lot of people they live and die by this.
yeah,
They feel like some people deserve wins because it's gonna bring them or put them over. In some instances, yes. And when you were just speaking about Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, I feel like if you're gonna put a superstar over, and Brock has been putting him over for the past couple of weeks, making him look strong and dominant. It looks great. Monday Night Raw last week, they they didn't even touch. It kind of bothered me, but I understood why. You want to save this moment for WrestleMania, which is
yeah.
why I've been kind of upset about why Cody and Randy have fought so many times already leading up to WrestleMania. Having Cody be a bloody mess after they signed the contract. That was great. After that, it's just Randy, beating up Matt Cardona. And then it's Randy and Cody a pull apart. And then it's now Randy and McAfee beating him. And it's like, man, you kind of feel bad for this guy. Cody, he
Yeah.
just keeps getting beat up. He keeps getting kicked in the balls. This guy just doesn't stop. But all that stuff doesn't mean anything as long as the story's good. So
Mm,
if Brock, for instance, at WrestleMania wins, it doesn't do anything for Oba, but it also doesn't do anything for Brock.
yeah,
So I feel like in this instance, I feel you have to put Obafemi over. He is the
yeah.
future. They've made him look like a monster. It'll be all for nothing if you allow this guy to lose at WrestleMania. And
Agreed.
you could do it in a way where they both look strong. So
Yeah.
I think it's really wins and losses mean everything, and I don't really think they do.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, I completely agree with that. It's I think people seem to forget and yeah, everyone has a different opinion, but for me, that's what wrestling is. It is pure entertainment. It is the
Hmm. At the end
Danhausen's,
of the day, that's what it is. Yeah.
everyone shit on Danhausen's debut, through the coffin, and everyone was like, oh, simply because they
I
wanted
did
Christian.
too. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you why, but continue.
Yeah, they wanted Chris Jericho. They wanted, and they got what they got. And even I was sitting there like, oh, this is a bit of a letdown. But then
Hmm.
now he's literally one of the main characters on Raw, and he doesn't
Oh,
even wrestle.
he's great. He was great at AEW too.
Yeah. But it's if you could bring over any wrestler from AEW, you just said you've watched a bit of AEW
Hmm.
that would fit the mold in WWE. Who do you think that would be?
It's easy, and I've been wanting him for God knows how long. MJF, the guy's a
Yeah.
superstar. He's the MVP of AEW. He is AEW. He's the face of AEW. Um, Man, when Cody won at WrestleMania 40, I said, please show up at Monday Night Raw because there was some contract negotiations in that time span. And I was like, please. And MJF wasn't where he is right now. Like, the guy
Mm.
is doing amazing in the ring. The mic work is untouchable. I don't think anyone in AEW can touch him on the mic.
Oh, there's no
But
one.
MJF, bro, the guy is incredible. And I love everything about him. So it'll be MJF.
Yeah, yeah. It's either that or obviously, probably not so much now, but it would have probably for me, being Kenny Omega. I think I've followed Kenny Omega
Yeah,
for quite a bit.
and I think they're having a match at Dynasty, or it might have happened. I'm so out of touch with
Yeah,
like the
I don't
storylines.
follow it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but they're supposed to have a match for the AEW title. But yeah, Kenny Omega, man, he is special. He's special wrestler, man. I just don't think he's as good as MJF is on the mic, but he's a way better wrestler than MJF, obviously. But MJF can hang, man. He's
yeah.
done it with Osprey. He's done it with Brian Danielson. MJF could wrestle, man. He's still young. He's not even in his 30s yet. I think he's 28, 29, something like that.
Mm. Yeah, no, I can't see a world where he doesn't go to WWE eventually.
I hope.
Uh, I think my biggest thing would be I don't know how he would fit into the mold of telling promos on Raw compared to AEW because they're pretty unscripted from what I've noticed with AEW. You
I
know,
mean, yeah. I mean, I
but
think AEW, I mean, WWE is a mixture of that because if you notice when Roman Reigns and CM Punk, their promos have been fantastic, and I
mm,
feel a lot of it is like bullet points, and it's just say what you got to say, but make sure you just mention these things. With superstars, they allow it. I think with other people, there's a leash. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, um, yeah, and I definitely the superstars get the f bombs and
Yeah, and
that
rightfully
sort of
so.
thing.
They've
Yeah,
they've earned that spot. Yeah.
yeah. I tell you what though, and I've noticed it because I fell out of watching wrestling for quite a bit until my son started really getting into it. And I tell
Hmm.
you, man, those. I feel like there's been a big emphasis on low blows as of late. Like every heel turn is a low blow now.
Yeah, it's starting to
And
feel
that's
like
sort of
China and the Attitude Era, just low blows
yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
And then going back to what you were saying about the Orton and Rhodes lead up,
Hmm.
and I think going back to WrestleMania for just a minute, I think where they're doing things right with Ober and Brock is they're not like they've had a couple of instances where they've fought, and then the rest has just been that tease, that
Yeah,
what's it going
yeah.
to be? But I think for me, if I was putting my Triple H hat on, I would have literally had Orton punt Cody Rhodes in the head at the end of the contract signing, and that be the
Yeah.
end of it until Mania. Do a couple of
I don't
face-offs
know if it'd
or
be the end because it's so many weeks. You're talking
yeah,
about, I think, almost a month between the two. But no, I agree. I feel like the punch should have happened. It may happen at Mania to win the title,
yeah,
and that's like the exclamation point for Randy to get his 15. But I still feel like there needs to be some verbal altercation to push this story forward between him and Randy in the ring at the same time, like what we've been seeing with Roman Reigns and CM Punk.
yeah. Touch on the fact that they're in a faction together. it's,
Hmm.
it's not even mentioned. Legacy's not even a thing, and there was
Yeah.
a lot of people asking for Ted DiBiase to be a part of it now that his
Mm.
criminal personal stuff has he's
Yeah.
been fully acquitted for it. But yeah,
Hmm.
something rather than hey, let's just chuck in a random Pat McAfee that has never dealt with either of them.
Yeah,
ever before. It would have been cool to see a little bit of history.
yeah.
Even if it was just Randy Orton's dad turning up, like
Yeah, I
it,
mean,
that.
something to push the whole wrestling has more than one royal family type thing. You bring that up in a phone call, mysterious phone call, and then the payoff is Pat McAfee. Like, what?
I think Cody's promo on SmackDown was spot on. It's like throwing Disco Inferno
Oh yeah.
as the reveal for the
I
NWA.
mean, I love Disco Inferno, but I get the point. It's like just a random person. And what's funny is
Yeah,
that Disco Inferno was part of the Outsiders, the Red NWO
yeah,
faction. So
the Wolf Pack. Yeah, yep.
the Wolfpack, yeah, yeah.
So for you, bro, what makes a good storyline? If you're putting on your
Mm.
creative writing hat, and you're looking at how to start something and how to finish it, what would be an example of you of good story writing?
Um, One is consistency. So if
Yeah.
we're telling a story and it goes back to the whole Randy Cody thing, I feel like being consistent with telling the story and and um and also keeping like making it real, right? Like keeping celebrities out of it. I understand celebrities help bring eyes to the product. This has been going on since like WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 1. And I'm all for it, but it doesn't need to progress a story. Again, the best story that I've ever seen was the Bloodline. So being consistent, making sure that the characters are really invested in what they're doing, how they're performing. Making losses matter. Like, I know I mentioned earlier, like wins and losses don't matter, but when something's really deep, um, people want a good comeback story. So,
Mm.
like with Cody at WrestleMania 39, he loses, but then he fights his way back the entire year to come back to WrestleMania, and then it was almost taken from him. And the audience was behind him, kind of the same way the audience was behind Daniel Bryan when he was in WWE, and they kind of like pushed Batista to wrestle Randy Orton. Excuse me. So just being consistent, making it feel as real as possible. I think that's what really makes a storyline like a must watch. Like I can't keep my eyes off of.
Yeah, and I feel like that's definitely been lost, but thankfully stars have come back, like CM Punk returning,
Hmm.
Cody Rhodes returning to WWE. They've come back,
Yeah, it's a big
and
deal.
yeah, and I found what they've brought with them is creativity. They're very much all about that old school
Yeah.
telling a story. And it goes back to remembering the days. And I'll use my favorite rivalry ever in WWE would have been Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And they fought
Mhm.
over multiple years, and it all
Yeah.
stemmed from Shawn Michaels being injured and then being fired to coming back, and Triple H had taken his spot. And it
Hmm.
led to a random brawl at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And then it just went on from there. And you're absolutely right that wins losses didn't matter. HBK lost
Yeah.
9 out of 10 of those matches,
And he's
but
still recognized as one of the greatest of all time till this day. Like there are so many current wrestlers grew up watching HBK and trying to emulate his style. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And I feel like that's like there's I remember watching a podcast with it was Stone Cold, and I think he was interviewing. I actually think he was interviewing Vince McMahon. And they were talking about the brass ring, somebody breaking through
Mm,
the ceiling, and I
mhm.
definitely think that plays a factor in what you see now. You can really tell the difference between people becoming superstars and people becoming mid carders, right? Um, and it all comes down to some of them will just shoot from the hip, and some of them will bring that storytelling in. But God knows where WWE would be without Paul Heyman. Like, funnily enough,
Yeah, Paul Heyman is really the MVP of storytelling and always has been,
yeah, yeah,
But
and
yeah,
then
without pause, it's tough for them.
yeah, as you said about the bloodline, man. For me, yeah, I would say long term storytelling.
Hmm.
Bloodline is by far the greatest storyline I think I've ever
Talking about
seen.
5 years of
Yeah,
storytelling, and people
yeah,
still want it. Like people, they're being teased. You see, the Usos come back, and they're talking to CM Punk, and They're like, say you're sorry. Like that was a pretty big deal, that little altercation they had, and there was
Mm,
no Roman there, and people were all for it.
yeah,
So, it just goes to show how big that story was and how it's still going and how people still want it, man.
yeah. And I can see a world if CM Punk somehow beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which I don't see happening personally. I think they're going to put the title back on Reigns. But if they didn't, that you've got the storyline there with the Usos. I wouldn't mind seeing a CM Punk Jey Uso storyline for the belt.
Yeah, they did have a match before, and it was bad. It was on Saturday Night Main Event. I feel like Jay Uso has something. I think the first time he gets the opportunity to have the belt around his waist was a failure. It could have been better. He had
Yeah,
so much hype behind him, and he still does. Like when he comes out, the crowd pops, despite what you see on the internet. He may not be the greatest technical wrestler or anything like that, but he has entertainment value, and people still resonate with him. The kids still love him. At the end of the day, this is like you said, entertainment. And just like everything else, the kids are what drives the revenue in this business because they're influencing their parents to purchase these tickets. So if you have two kids and you have the parents, they want to buy shirts and all types of merch, and it continues from there. And this is where we've all been there. This is why we're still fans, because growing up as children, this is what we really enjoyed. So I think for Jay, after Mania, who knows where they'll go. I don't see it being like another world title. I think that ship has sailed, but I do think like they will tease a little bit of the bloodline if Roman wins. I do think he wins. I just don't think he holds it past SummerSlam.
and who do you think? Like, obviously, with John Cena retiring, you know, or last year or this year,
Hmm.
um,
It was a December, yeah.
yeah, there's a big spot there for over the top babyface. Kids purchase tickets. Do you think Jay fits into something like that, or who do you think would take the mantle of top babyface other than Cody if they don't turn him?
Oh, I was gonna say Cody is the top baby. He
Yeah,
is QB1. Again, I don't care what the IWC says. It's weird because Cody is such how do I say, like, he's taking every page out of Cena's book. He said this multiple times in multiple interviews. This is something that he's dreamt of doing, and now he's doing it. I don't know who the next face will be. I thought it could have been Jay Uso. I just don't think. Again, I feel like the ship has sailed for him. I don't see anyone right now outside of Trick Williams that has the potential to be a megastar. The guy is amazing. He can wrestle. He has a great look. His entrance music, people love it. They push him out as a heel, but he's getting cheered every night that he comes out. It's it's crazy because he has like this old school vibe to him, like this old like the rock Hollywood rock vibe to him, but he's also great on the mic too, and he's young, and I can only see things going up for him. It's just how does WWE handle this? Do they make it crash and burn? How do they create him into a megastar that it looks like it can be? It's almost the same thing for LA Knight. LA Knight had an opportunity. That ship has sailed as well. And I feel bad because the guy's been in the business so long and they kind of like dropped the ball on him, and you kind of feel bad. Ever since he dropped the title to Logan Paul, the US title, it has been nothing for him. It's been missed opportunity after missed opportunity, and it sucks because I would like to see him at least get back to the main event stage. I just don't know if we see that in a year or two now.
I don't. I feel oh yeah, I feel like that ship sailed for him. But on the
Hmm.
back end of that, obviously we're talking about baby faces. What about heels for you? The bad guy. Who do you see?
Mm.
Like for me personally, it's Gunther by a country
Oh
mile.
yeah,
If they
yeah.
book him properly, which I'm a bit worried after seeing that he was return against Seth Rollins for absolutely no reason. It's kind of like you know,
It's just
but
WWE like panicking. We got nothing for them. Let's just put them together, and they'll have a great match. I guarantee
yeah,
they're gonna have a great match. When you have Seth Rollins in the ring with someone like Gunther, there's going to be magic made, but there's no story, and it
yeah,
sucks. So
yeah.
yeah.
But who do you think would take the mantle for you as QB1 heel?
Uh, besides Gunther, you know who could really do it, man? If they pull the trigger now, I don't want it to be, but it could be Cody. If they flip the switch on Cody, I don't want it to happen. I don't think it will happen. I don't think it should happen. But boy, if they do it, man, what a heel he's going to be.
It would
It's
be
going to be
it would be Hogan.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, close. Yeah, pretty close. But my God, they teased it a little bit with him and Stephanie. You saw a little bit on SmackDown, but that was just him like shooting from the hip. Like he was really pissed about that whole turnout between Pat McAfee and Randy Orton and himself. They didn't need any of that. I don't even think they needed Randy Orton to be a heel, to be honest. But that's besides the point. Um, if it's not Cody, I would say Sami Zayn. I think he'll
Yeah, I
be a
could say that.
great heel. Yeah,
Yeah.
great heel.
If I was I'm gonna give a little bit of a we're gonna do this a bit later, but given we're talking about heels, we're talking about faces. I have a crazy prediction for the CM Punk Roman Reigns
Mm.
matchup at WrestleMania. I actually think The Rock costs Roman the title, and I think they go with the heel persona of CM Punk. That's my official off the shoot, see what happens, similar to what they did with Seth Rollins last year. You know, the whole wise man, which corner he's going to be in, turns on
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins. I could see in a world where they set up The Rock versus Roman Reigns with a year's storytelling by getting The Rock to cost Roman the title at WrestleMania against CM Punk. And then in a world where we see a heel CM Punk return, I feel like could be very interesting.
I don't I don't think so because CM Punk is the anti-heel, right? He's the Stone Cold of this era. I mean, we've wanted to see them go at it all the way back at I was like 2012, 2013. Even when they had that little interview for his WWE 2K 2013 cover. CM Punk to be heel, I can't see it enough because I feel like the fans are gonna love him no matter what. They're still gonna chant his name. They're still gonna buy his merch. Like I don't think look, even when CM Punk mentioned Roman Reigns' dead father, they're stistill cheering him. Like that's the
It's
low of the
crazy.
low, and you didn't even need to
It's
do that.
insane.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just I don't see it. Can I see The Rock getting involved? Yes, but I don't see the motivation. Because the whole thing of The Rock and Roman, it was more of like who's the head of the table kind of thing, and The Rock feels like he should be the head of the table. There was something there too. It was just bad timing. Of
Mm.
course, The Rock is one of the busiest people in Hollywood, so it's kind of hard with scheduling. I know he really wants to have this match. It'll be blockbuster, man. Is this something that they try to do a year like they did with him and Cena? Maybe, and if it's gonna go to Saudi, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen in a year from now? But I think if The Rock does come back, I don't think it's to cost Roman a title, to win the World Heavyweight title championship. It will probably be the Monday after Mania, which is always like the biggest Monday Night Raw after Mania. So
Yeah.
maybe, who knows?
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. I guess, and that's for me. That's what sucks about this era is the spoilers now. The spoilers are so prominent now within
Yeah,
wrestling that
yeah.
you're
Some of
not.
them get it wrong too, but yes, the
Yeah.
spoilers is annoying. You got to
And
stay
it's
off the internet. You got to stay off X.
yeah, which is it's impossible to you think about something it pops up in your feed. So it's
Yeah,
it's yeah. I always look forward to the Raw after Mania because you just never know.
yeah.
But who, in your opinion, who is the best storyteller at the moment in wrestling?
It's Paul
In the
Heyman,
yeah, by
or
far,
you want like
no
a
one
wrestler?
close. No, Paul Heyman's. I was going to say Paul Heyman as well.
Yeah, no. Paul Heyman's the goat. He's so dedicated to the craft. He's so dedicated to the business. Just look at what he did a couple weeks ago when he came back after being stomped by Seth Rollins. He didn't shave. It didn't look like he slept. His eyes were red, like he had pink eye. No one does that just to do it. He's so dedicated. You know what's so funny? um, so Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, they had that whole wrestling throughout the entire episode of SmackDown to the end where they fall off like this little um side of a building. And then like 4 days later, you see Jacob Fatu at the MLB opener on Netflix, and he's like all looking good. He's happy, he's smiling. But then on the SmackDown after that, he's got his arm bandaged up. I'm like, wait,
Makes no sense.
yeah. Where Paul would stay out of sight, out of mind. You ain't gonna see me. I've been hurt. You know, that's dedication. And we
Yeah.
all know this is all, I don't want to use the word fake, but it's all choreographed, right? So, there's an art to it. It's just like watching a movie or a TV show. There's art to it. And Paul Heyman is dedicated to the art, man, and there's no one like him. And I don't think there'll
Oh,
ever be anyone like him.
yeah, I genuinely feel like he's one of one, man. Like
Yeah.
it's insane when you look at it, how long he's been in the business,
He's the
and
GOAT.
and how far ahead he is of everyone else.
Yeah.
So any listeners out there, right? Let's just say they're not a wrestling fan. They've never watched a wrestling match in their life. What match would you show them first?
Ah, man. So I have like two, maybe three. The first one that comes to mind is The Rock versus Hogan, WrestleMania, I believe 18, if I'm not
Yeah, and
mistaken.
yeah, when Hogan went from he was heel going into the
Yeah,
match, and then
yeah.
the crowd just
The
was
crowd just shifted it. Yeah, it
yeah
was beautiful to watch. It may not be the greatest wrestling match ever, but the storytelling in the ring and allowing the crowd to shift that story was beautiful to watch. And then you're watching like two legends, right? You're watching the past and the present come together, and it's so beautiful to watch. It really is art, when you're watching it. And if you're watching it for the first time, you don't even need to know the story prior. You really don't. You're just enjoying the way the atmosphere in that building comes together as the people become one and cheering for Hogan. Because let's be honest, they haven't seen the red and yellow Hogan since like the mid '90s before he left to WCW.
yeah
So it's all that time. The whole NWO, WCW. He comes back. He's still NWO Hollywood Hogan, and people wanted to see what they grew up on, what they remember, and that's what the crowd spoke freely. And it was great to watch. So yeah, if there was one match, it would be that one. Um, I, I do love the Money in the Bank match between CM Punk and John Cena. Probably one of my favorite matches um ever of John Cena for one. Besides the one he did with AJ Styles last year, that was, man, what a love letter to wrestling. That was
yeah
beautiful, man. You
yeah definitely.
you get some history from the TNA world of professional wrestling, and man, they did something amazing there, you know. And I also love Shawn Michaels Undertaker. Uh what is it, 25 or 24? I know they went back to back one of those
Yeah.
WrestleManias. The Hell in a Cell, my God. I mean, Shawn is one of my favorites of all time. I grew up a fan of Shawn Michaels. And then, when he left, I started gravitating to The Rock. So I think any of those matches, man, are just great, great
Mm.
storytelling, and it's pure artwork, man. It really is.
Yeah, I would say for me, if I was for my son, I'll just use my son as an example. He's never watched
Mhm.
wrestling with he till late recently. I would show him Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle, SummerSlam
Ooh.
2003.
I mean,
Um,
besides that miss from the top rope, it could have
yeah,
been really bad. But
yeah,
man, what a match. Yeah.
yeah. It was for me that you just sit back and you're just like, holy shit,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um, And I think, yeah, I would probably say a second one for me would be Triple H and Taker for Mania. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
I respect that. Yeah, no, is it the
because of this.
one where Michaels was the referee?
Yeah,
Was that was a
yeah,
Mania?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I just think, th- once again, it all comes down to the storytelling, right? You know,
yeah,
Triple H wanted to avenge Michael's retirement and
yeah.
comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was one of those. I just think you just watch it and you're just in awe, man, at how they can keep a crowd
Yeah,
going, and that's for me. Anytime I watch wrestling and everything like that, I just love surprises. I love being surprised. You
of
know,
course. Yeah, we like that shock factor. Yeah.
yeah, and it's the same as when the Hardy Boys returned at Mania, and no one
Oh
had an
my God,
idea
it's
that
huge.
New
Yeah.
New Day come out like they're gonna wrestle, and then they go,
Mm.
actually, we're not gonna wrestle. These people are gonna take our place, and then boom, Hardy music.
Yeah.
Hardy Boys come out, which is just, oh
Yeah.
man, what a moment in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I agree with you, man. We're at that stage where it's good to be a wrestling fan. I hate seeing so many balls being dropped when it comes to storylines,
Yeah.
because we sit there and we watch it and we're like, I kind of wish for some sort of invasion angle or something to spice things up. Like,
Yeah. Maybe like from NXT or something. Who knows?
yeah, or even TNA, get
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
TNA invasion happening. Um, but yeah, no, I think on this, I guess we can call it the road to WrestleMania. There's a lot of matches we haven't spoken about, but I think the hardest thing coming into Mania is those 2 days. I feel like 2 days is too long, but I also
Yeah.
think that one day is also too long. I remember when it went from a 4-hour show to an 8-hour show. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's
it
like
was,
every AEW pay per view.
yeah, which I feel like maybe is a little bit overkill, but when you're as popular and as big as the WWE, they're
Oh
going to
yeah.
sell that place out, and it's going to be what it'll
Well, they
be.
haven't yet, but
Yeah,
no, it's how do I say, when you are as big as the WWE, you're known worldwide, and there's a lot of nostalgia there. There's a lot of history there. It's just well known. So many, like, that's why there's so many celebrities involved, because they grew up on this stuff just like us, man. And this is the biggest event of the year. It's their Super Bowl. It's just it's starting to feel too big, I think, even for
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Doing 2 nights, 7 matches per night is what they're saying. That's a lot. They're starting at 7 o'clock. It's just so much.
mm,
Think about this too. Because it's gonna be in Vegas again, they're gonna start the Hall of Fame ceremony at 12 o'clock Eastern time for us.
it's
I couldn't even
crazy.
stay up past 1 o'clock. I had to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah,
It's just there's too much content
yeah,
between Raw, NXT, SmackDown, then the Hall of Fame show, and it's just, my God, it's a
yeah.
lot.
They should literally scrap Raw and SmackDown for that week, and then plan out the Hall of Fame, and then plan
They'll
out
never do
WrestleMania.
that. There's these
Nah,
contracts that they're obligated
for
to.
sure. But it would be good if they were like they spaced it
I know,
out a
give it
little
some
bit.
time to breathe. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, make us miss it a little bit.
And I honestly think less celebrities, more legends, I think would make WrestleMania, because that's what it used to be for
Well,
me.
of course,
And
yeah, yeah.
anytime you'd watch it, you'd sit back. WrestleMania 20, I think, is one of the first WrestleManias I ever watched live. And that was, and it was just all the little, just quick appearances from legends that
Hmm.
made that a
Yeah,
massive thing. Have, instead of Pat McAfee, bring in an old school WWE legend like Ric Flair, like
yeah,
like
yeah.
someone like to turn heel and go against Cody and wake Randy up, and it should have been like, if anything, just chuck Ric Flair in there. Ric Flair will tell a story. you know.
No, you're absolutely
Um,
right.
all right. So last of the segment before I let you get out of here, because I know it's
Okay.
late for you and early for me. We've got fun rapid fire questions. Right. So this is,
All right.
don't think, just answer, and we'll see what comes of it. And viewers out there, he does not know what questions I'm about to hit him
Yeah, I
with.
don't know.
All right. One superstar that makes you tune in to watch wrestling every week.
Roman Reigns,
Favorite era of wrestling.
Attitude Era.
Favorite finisher of all time?
Stone Cold Stunner.
Ooh, I didn't expect that. Favorite entrance of all time?
Undertaker.
Which one?
uh
The Dead Man or the American
yeah, the
Badass?
Dead Man. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
American Badass is cool, but no, the Dead Man for sure. That as a kid made me scared every time, but I grew up loving it more and more.
All right. Now the hardest question of all: Who wins in their prime, Eddie Guerrero or AJ Styles?
Oh my god. I'm going Eddie. I love AJ. AJ is the closest thing to Shawn Michaels, but Eddie Guerrero's special, man. He's
Yeah.
great.
And favorite superstar of all time?
Shawn Michaels.
By far?
By far. No one comes
Mm.
close.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't expect that. I would. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, favorite superstar for me is Eddie Guerrero. Funnily enough. Um,
Oh no, that's you can't go wrong with that answer either.
yeah. It's. I was showing my son the lead up to No Way Out 2004 when Eddie wins his first world title.
Was
And he's
that him and Brock?
yeah, him and Brock. Yep. And that's
Yeah.
the
Great match.
introduction of Goldberg. Goldberg into that match and that lead up and that pay per view in general. Yeah, man. Yeah, great times. Other than that, man, that's it for today. So
Hey,
thank
thank you
you.
so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for jumping on. Listeners out there, I'm going to chuck in the Art of Nonsense links there as well as Landmine socials. Where can people catch your wrestling content, not your podcast content, Landmine?
Oh, wrestling content's gonna be on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. You just type in Landmind, LANMIND, and that's where you'll catch all the clips. Sometimes we'll go live on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok as well.
Easy. All right. So there you have it, viewers. I'll chuck in everything that you need to do to be able to like, subscribe, and follow Landmine's content as well as follow the channel's content. Let me know who you want me to talk to next. Other than that, have a great Easter. Thanks again, Landmine. You're the best.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Catch you later.
All right.